So welcome. I'm Michelle Leone. I am a program manager with Brock Recreation at Brock University. And primarily my portfolio includes camps. We do spring programming with schools. We do overnights with schools. And then we have a summer camp programming with about 400 kids a week in pre-pandemic summer camp. And we did not operate in 2020, but we have a yellow light to do something in 2021. So we're sort of in the initial stages of getting some approvals happening there. I think what would be kind of great to start, since we are such a small group, I'd love to do some introductions. And so I think if we could do, who you are, where you're from, and if there is something particular that you would like us to talk about, I think we have an hour. I actually should have asked Jenna. We'll just do it till we're done. Or an hour. And then, so if there's something that you want to talk through the group, let's put that on the table. But then also, if you could just share us a boring fact. Interesting facts can be very stressful, so just share something boring, that's fine. So for me, a boring fact about me is that I prefer over easy eggs. I don't like them hard, and I like them dippy. That's what I prefer. So if you could tell us who you are, where you're from, something boring about yourself, and then anything you'd like to talk about. Let's start there. Popcorn style. There's only 7 of us, so go.
I can start. Can you folks hear me?
I can hear you, Maggie.
Okay, perfect. I'm just on my work phone. I'm in office for the first time in a while, so it's exciting. It's weird. Yeah, so my name is Maggie. I work as the Camps and Clubs Coordinator at McMaster University. We did not run camp programming this past season, even though, day camps got the green light. We decided to hold off. So I guess my intent with this call is to maybe even just get a temperature of the room to understand where folks are at now and kind of where maybe they hope to be in the next few months as far as planning phases go. I've been trying to keep up kind of with what the OCA has going on as far as guidance, but I feel like it's good to get a sense of folks who are in similar situations to know where they're at. And an maybe interesting fact about me is that I've never eaten ketchup, and I never will because I think it's so gross. But yeah, that's my fact.
Very boring. Thanks, Maggie.
Thanks.
For those who are just joining, I was typing, but it's faster for me to just say it. We are just looking to find out who you are, maybe where you're from. If there is something you'd like to chat about today, that's awesome. We're talking about camps. If you need to know you're in the right place, you are. And a boring fact about yourself. Thank you, Maggie.
I guess I can go next. Sarah Broderick, Wilfrid Laurier University, Manager of Recreation and Wellness. So I do have a coordinator with a fairly large portfolio that has camps within hers as well as aquatics and sport clubs. So it's quite large. So try to help out where we can. I'll give us a somewhat interesting, boring fact, but I just got a kitten yesterday. So she's tearing around here everywhere into everything. I'm coming out from little places that I didn't know a cat could get under, all covered in dust. So I apparently need to do some spring cleaning as well, or just keep sending her under there. But yeah, that's been really, really fun playing with the kitten the last day or so. And I am curious to know what people are looking at for timelines, because normally we hit the ground for early in the new year, promo, opening registration in February. What's the lay of the land out there? Are people thinking they're going to push things off a little while, or are we going to plow straight ahead and hope for the best? I'm curious to see what people are thinking at this time.
Great question, Sarah. Thanks. Anyone else want to share?
I can go next.
Thanks, Brian.
So I'm Brian Millis. I'm from the College of the Rockies in Cranbrook, BC. We don't usually do a lot of camps. We've done camps before. We've tried them again. So just trying to get some people's input on camps and how they go, and our coaches are always looking to do camps as well. So just kind of listening in to see what other schools are doing and whatnot. Interesting fact about me, I love to travel, and since we can't travel, it's killing me not to be able to go anywhere. But I've been on campus here in Cranbrook since August 4th. So it's nice to be on campus daily and kind of be back in that daily routine.
Thanks, Brian. Welcome to the camp bubble.
I'll go if that's helpful.
Sure.
So my name's Laura, and I'm the aquatics coordinator at Queen's University. Not necessarily a boring fact, but we celebrated our dog's 6-year adoptiversary on the weekend. It's amazing how time flies, and we're just so happy that he's happy and in a good home. And I'm here to learn as much as I can about camps, so I'm just going to steal everybody's ideas.
It's fine. That's why we're all here. It's not stealing, it's sharing.
I guess I can go because I work at Queen's as well and work with Laura. So what Laura didn't say is we have a vacancy in our coordinator of camps and other sort of things role, but we're not super optimistic that we're going to be able to post that position anytime soon. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to be trying to figure out as a team what the landscape is for camps, what the time frame is for making camp decisions. As Sarah said, very much wondering what other people are doing in their communities. We have a big program at Queen's. We're certainly one of the largest in the Kingston community for summer camp programs. But we were one of the big voids that never got back to delivering anything last summer. Mm-hmm. And it's very concerning to know what a whole other summer might look like in terms of reduced capacity of camp program in the community, and what that does for our market share and brand recognition and all of those good things. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure for us to have something. I think we're going to get clearance for doing things on campus way later than we would like to, and we're going to be dealing with a little bit of a camp expertise and leadership void, so it's going to be a lot of scrambling and figuring out how do we do that as a collective and as a team. But there's even, I think there are people that think that anyone can just jump in and run camp and youth programs, which I think anyone on this call would know isn't the case. So when we don't have OUA and U Sport stuff going on, there's great coaches that could probably do a lot with sport-specific camps, and they're great for content expertise, but they're not necessarily the people you naturally think of plugging into, either on front-end delivery or certainly on the planning administrative side. So
yeah.
So just wanted to maybe chat about how people are adjusting on their campuses, what the timeframes are. Boring fact is just me talking generally, so probably put some people to sleep just by going on. But it's nice to see Sarah and Jennifer. We are a line of 3 for recreation coordination stuff at Wilfrid Laurier too in our backgrounds, which is kind of neat. So
thanks, Gareth.
I can go next. I'm Jen. I'm the manager of Fit Rec and Client Services at the University of Guelph. I do have, Kevin was just on the call and popped out because he's doing our Learn to Skate program, which is in person right now. And Beth is his supervisor, who's also on vacation. So excuse my ignorance because I am the third. But I think we ran virtual camp last summer with some success. And I think no matter what, I'd like to run virtual. And I'm really planning and hoping for a hybrid for the summer. We did hear a lot of kids who maybe their parents are teachers who don't need a full day but would like something, or kids who have, you know, maybe sometimes they're a little scared of camp, or they have some anxiety that doesn't want them to go in-person camp. So I think the virtual world of camp is here for us to stay. We are running PDD. We did run a PDD program that was virtual. So I'm kind of interested to hear about anybody's virtual plans going forward, because I think no matter what we do in person, virtual will be a thing in the summer.
Thanks, Jennifer. There's a couple more we haven't heard from. Does anyone else want to share? Or we can.
Sure. So it's Chris from Concordia University. And we tried the virtual approach. And although the past summer we had a lot of good positive feedback, 100% rate and everything, we didn't have many registrations. So that was a bummer, I think, in itself. However, this coming summer, we hope to have in-person camps. I know that University of Montreal ran a camp this summer with 3,000 kids over the period of 8, if not 9 weeks. And they did everything in terms of bubbles. And when I reached out to other communities, it's been that. It's been 2 counselors per 15 kids, no equipment sharing, boxes with arts and crafts that were made per child, and they're returning. That's the box they get. So we're looking at the different things that were used in the past, but most definitely we would like to try to run camps in person at limited, I would say, numbers. We definitely will not go full throttle like we have in the past, where we just accept any registrations. I think this time around we'll have limits and limit dates where people will be able to register, and we'll go with the numbers we get. But in person for us, I mean, I've missed it. There's nothing that, you know, replaces that. So, and knowing that leagues ran this summer in terms of soccer, Quebec opened up quite fairly quickly than Ontario. Many teams had 8 games that they've played in their league competition. And there haven't been too many cases at camps in terms of, you know, breakouts and things that would have caused any concern. So we're definitely looking to work with the university to try to find the right protocols and put things in place that would make sense so that we can have an in-person camp at a reduced numbers.
Thanks, Chris.
Welcome.
I think we've heard, did we get everyone? I should have been paying attention close, but I wasn't. Let's go for it. Just the first one we wanted to talk about was the temperature of the room. I think we sort of all shared. I'll just share. We are also aiming for in-person something, but the challenge and the struggle is real on all space is shared space, and camp is never number one. And so we host many sport camps in our sport facilities, but then we also do science and technology and robotics and arts, and you know, which we then spread across campus. So we have proposed sort of 4 landing zones where we would have campers enter, no parents in the buildings, they enter, they get dropped off, and they sort of stay in that building for the day. The problem is if conference also gets a green light, then we're sharing space with conference, so we have to not use the same building. If we are anticipating there being a greater amount of summer classes in July and August, which would mean we have to not be near the students who are also sharing these labs and classrooms. And the other one is the room capacities. So often we would put a group even in a seminar room or a small lab, but those rooms are getting such a small capacity of like 6 or 7, which we're aiming for groups of 8 with 1 or 2 instructors. So we need a room that can at least hold 10. And so that means we are asking for bigger rooms, which there's less of, blah, 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 blah. So we are we're hopeful, and we all know there's like a certain number of kids we need before it starts being profitable, and whether we can get to that threshold. Basically, you know, you got to pay for me. And so like it's sort of a challenge in that way. I was also sharing, I've been redeployed. I am actually not currently working in the recreation department. So there is currently not somebody, we also have a void, Gareth, although I'm here. I have a full-time job in our student life department. So but would they move me back if we're not going to be profitable? Like, no, leave me over there so I don't get terminated. I don't know. It's sort of an interesting trouble. So I'm not sure. Timeline-wise, if we maybe want to, so there was a couple things I want to talk about too. I want to talk about, did anybody learn anything in 2020? It sounds like Jennifer, you're the only one who actually ran anything virtually. I would like to also talk about other ways to make money. If anybody has come up with some, you know, are people buying your camp swag that you have? Like, do you have a shop open that you're selling stuff? I don't know. And then also just sort of what is upcoming. So if we maybe want to talk a bit about timelines and what people are thinking. For us, we are also going to hold off. We would be asking students, returning staff, we would be asking for letters of intent now before December exams. We would ask, are you coming back? Do you want to come back? And we would start hiring senior staff and coordinators so that in January they would be involved in new staff hiring and group interviews and all of that. We are going to pause and hold until, I think, until probably February or March. We usually run a May-June program with schools, and so we're not doing that. So I also sort of feel like we've bought ourselves 2 months to sort of push a bit. And I'm less worried this year. Maybe I'm naive, so I would love to hear that we're less likely to lose good folks because there's going to be less jobs.
The timeline for the Ontario Camp Association, Michelle, which you said you've been on in the past, and I only know because Kevin's on it and he's on the task force for getting camps back, has a timeline of not even creating regulations until late February.
Yeah.
So in terms of a time, I don't even see us being able to plan, to your point, until at least March.
Yeah.
So yeah, taking May and June off the table makes complete sense.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Jennifer. Yeah, good.
Yeah, Michelle, we're the same at Queens, and big school day field trip program, May and June, very similar to what Western does with their Wild Western days. At Queens, it's just the sports days, but both of those programs are like 3,000 plus kids coming into the facility. And we've heard from our boards that there's zero chance of that happening this school year. So yeah, it's bought us a little bit of time. I'm still very nervous. I know that there's there might not be as many jobs, so there may be some more availability of some staff. We have 85% or more of our student population don't necessarily stick around locally or aren't from the Kingston area. So if it's delayed too much before we know, like, people will just make decisions to go home or go elsewhere and then not be readily available when jobs pop up. So I'm still making and fighting that case that there has to be a little bit of a commitment and timeline to what the casual staff is. But I know that there won't be that until we talk about our current full-time people and redeployment options even within our own department and stuff. So it's going to be really, really tricky, I think, for timelines for some of this. We gain some and then we lose some time with those decisions. So I just wanted to share that as well. I'm sure other people are wrestling with a lot of those big calls and decisions right now. But thanks Jen O'Neill too for the Ontario Camp Association potential time frame for some protocols and guidelines.
Yeah, it means that the good news is they've got the doctor on at Sick Kids who did the recommendations for going back to school. And so whatever recommendations they make will have his name from Sick Kids on it, and it is going to the province of Ontario. I think a lot of them are trying to get overnight camp back, but it will have day camp guidelines on it too.
Yeah, that's great. And for those of us that are those out of province and stuff, hopefully that's a good, robust plan to share across the country as well.
Mm-hmm. The other sort of consideration in my timeline too is we may get ministry guidelines, we may get a green light from public health, we may get all of that, but at what point will the university say, yeah, do that? It sounds like some of you are dealing with redeployments and not posting vacancies, but even our student jobs have to go through an HR position review, which I've been involved with my students who are helping in orientation. And it is a rigorous new process, of which I've asked, can I start for camp? And it's like, no, not until we know you're doing camp. And then it's like, yeah, but I need like time to do that. So I think it is a messy thing.
Well, to speak to a little bit of it, we put together a full reopening plan for camps that would have started in October and was denied. So we tried to run in-person PD day camps and it was denied. So that's why we went virtual. So round 1, we thought was going to fail, but it did fail. So round 2 will be asking for PD or for March break. And then round 3 will be the biggest ask of in-person. But I do find universities are very risk adverse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think they're wrong. The university students should come first. But at the same time, these are, we all know that this is totally a recruitment piece, and student jobs are important. And so it's an interesting.
And it's interesting because I know everybody around this table probably runs the activity camp side of things. But as the OUA continues to push back the OUA seasons, the big half of our camp is sports camps that are run by the coaches. Yeah, you too, Michelle. Yeah. So redeployment there, funds there, the need to even fundraise, I don't know. So sports camp is a bigger question mark for me than even activity camps.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, with such low capacities, the coach being willing, to run a basketball camp with 24 kids versus their usual 1 week where they can have 160 kids, and every athlete works for the week and they make all their money in 1 week. Whether they will bother if they can only do it for such a small number, some of them are saying I might not, with such tight restrictions on how to offer camp.
I know a lot of our coaches use it as recruitment, right? They get their guys a job before the season starts.
Yeah. They're
making more than they should be making.
Yeah. So all messy. Jennifer, can we bug you about virtual? And how much did you charge? Will you tell us? And what does your virtual PD day look like? What is?
Mm-hmm. So it was a variety of costs. I would say, to Chris's point, because Chris said he ran them too, I'm not claiming success. I'm claiming profit, but I'm not claiming huge numbers. So we had 140 kids over the summer, over 3 weeks. So not zero, but not the 5,000 we normally engage. So it ranged. We started with Clubhouse. We call it Clubhouse. So in June, we ran just for $20, 1 hour at a time. And we aimed it at get together virtually and hang out. And then in July, we ran our leadership and training sessions, 5 weeks. That was probably the most popular. Is our CIT and LIT program went completely virtual. And that was really popular. Yeah. But we sold it at 10. So that was, virtual is hard when you want discussion to go anything bigger than 10. Our biggest success was in 8 years and over. Under 8 did not want to be a part of camp. So prices ranged anywhere from $90 to $120. Our PD Day camp was $45. It didn't come online, and it did include an activity pack that you picked up, and you did camps or crafts along with us. So all of our camps included that. There was like a pickup of an activity camp, and you would open it up. So you'd have a pack, and then in the pack would be like Monday's activities, Tuesday activity, Wednesday activity. So in terms of workload, it was a lot of work that you'd have to like put these activities together, stuff the bag, get parents to pick it up. So it was.
Did you do pickup on campus?
We did.
And your COVID committee let you have pickup?
Yeah,
Okay.
They let us have pickup. So we did do pickup on campus at specific times, and they let us come into the building and put the packs together. So it wasn't huge numbers though, because it was only 1 week at a time. So the most we put together in any week was 30, maybe 40.
Right.
PD Day camp was small. We had two age groups. One age group didn't run. Again, that 5 to 8 didn't run. The other group ran with 8. So, but what's come out of it is a new product for us. So one of the parents who came to Clubhouse really loved it for her daughter who's 10, I believe, and asked us to do a virtual party. So we actually did her birthday party then virtually. And they got activity packs, and it was really popular. So that's our new product, is now virtual birthday parties. So we put together a mini pack, parents pick it up, they stuff it on top of what we do. We get online for 2.5 hours. We do games, they do crafts. The birthday girl is allowed to open presents if they want. That's all arranged through the parents. And that's been really popular for us. And that came out of a parent asking for it from Clubhouse.
Awesome.
Sorry, Michelle. Jen, like, how many people were running your virtual session? Like, you do always maintain a minimum of 2 people?
Yeah.
And was like Kevin one of them? And
Kevin was always one. And then we had student staff. So we had 3 student staff this summer.
Okay.
One was always Kevin. The ratios were always 2 to 1.
Yeah. 2 to
and
1.
they were all
Oh, wow.
recorded.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And did you use Zoom?
Yep.
Yeah.
We got special permission, and we had to have a teaching license from on campus. So it was it wasn't just the free version of Zoom.
Right.
Breakout rooms were savior.
Yes. Yeah. Good. Does anyone else have questions about that? Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Or anybody else, I guess, who did run camps this past summer. Did anyone utilize Canada Summer Jobs or benefit from that at all, or any other type of funding?
No, we have an engineering camp on campus called Creative Encounters, and they're not run through us, they're run through the University of Guelph, but we had some meetings, they did, and they were allowed to keep them, but they had the funding from January.
Okay. Thank you. I know that that's something that we are exploring. Like, it's been made abundantly clear that we are not to be hiring any student staff in any capacity, particularly given the redeployments. Like, the priority right now for our department is getting folks back to full-time. But we did get some good news that we had put in a request for Canada Summer Jobs for this summer upcoming, and they approved it. So I don't know if folks have looked into that, but I'd say it's probably a good time now if you're hoping to get some support there for funding, because that is truly the only way we'll be able to justify hiring student staff if we want to move forward with programming this summer.
Yeah, I have always had 2 positions supported by Canada Summer Jobs for many, many years in a variety of versions, but we didn't operate this year, so I didn't get them. Good. So another sort of question was any other creative ways that you, specifically your camp portfolio or possibly larger in your teams, are being creative with revenue or also just engaging your community. So Gareth, you brought this up, that the like continuity is important. We are also a large service in the agency, but I'm also particularly worried that if we would lose another year, I won't have students who know how to do this stuff anymore. Especially in some of our like particular things, like game design or coding or any of these like particular hard skills. So I'd love to hear, I am going to explore, Jennifer, doing PD days. I think that's a great idea. Even if I do them for free, it would get people, I could probably get students to volunteer to do them, and that would at least keep them learning about how to do it. But other ideas of what folks can do or are doing?
And if I could, add to that question, Michelle, and even ask what folks are doing, like as far as communication strategy. So like engagement with students, families, community through social media or whatever communication strategy. Any information you have or tips on that, I would happily take.
We're doing stuff, but I feel like I should stop talking. No, Gareth says no. We're doing.
Go for it.
We did Facebook. We're still doing Facebook engagement, and we did like Kevin. I mean, I wish Kevin was on the call because everything I say is nothing about me. It's all about Kevin. Everything is about he does everything, but you know, he would do scavenger hunts and he would put out worksheets on Facebook, and he, to your point, would just kind of program Griffin related kids activities through Facebook, and it's just free and it's all created by him. He put up videos of himself, having a campfire, etc. So he's been really popular on Facebook.
Yeah, I would say, I would echo that. We were doing, till my redeployment, similar content. We were just trying to stay relevant and stay in touch. One thing we do all the time is we send every camper a birthday card. And so on a normal year, in the summer, their instructor actually signs their birthday card. So it is a very large operation to sign 3,000 birthday cards, but they then I save them and I send them a birthday card during the year on their birthday, signed by their summer camp instructor. So in lieu of that this year, I am signing all the cards and sending birthday cards to our campers. In hindsight, I'm wishing that I just printed Christmas cards this year or like holiday cards, because then I could have like given it to our screening desk people at the university and they could have just done them. But you know, hindsight's 2020. I've already printed the birthday cards. I will continue signing the bajillion cards and sending them out. But yeah, I have also wondered, like, do I send something in December and say, we are thinking of you, summer camp is a maybe? Like, because we would open like registration for March break, and March break is a no for us. The university has given us a no on March break. So I haven't started to get questions yet, but I'd like to be ahead of that.
Yeah, I've been toying with the same question, Michelle, like if it's worth trying to send out some mass communication to families and say, you know, we still exist and we know you're there too. And just trying to wrap my head around what that sounds like, given that, you know, I don't know any more information than they do really in terms of what to expect for the summer. Other than that, we anticipate the timeline will be much different than what they're used to, which might be sufficient enough to just say, hey, we usually do this in January. It's probably going to happen in March. So I'm glad that you're asking the same questions. It's affirming at least. because I'm toying with the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a slightly different scenario in that we are planning a December communication. We have no idea what we're going to say in it yet, but we were on Thriva, which is then ActiveNet has Thriva, but because it's Flash based, it's sunsetting in December. And then the rest of our platform, we just moved to Fusion last March. I'm not sure. We haven't figured out exactly where our camp registration world is going to land and lie yet. Like Maggie, I know you guys at McMaster. I think you guys are Camp Brain, even though the rest of your stuff is Fusion.
Yeah. We just switched over. Yeah.
Yeah, I might follow up with you on some of that. But anyway, that's part of our December strategy, is just to sort of say, look, we're going to be changing systems. Here's how you create a member profile online in our new system, even though we don't know if that will be our new system. It probably is the capabilities for a smaller camp, but once we get bigger, I'm not so sure it's our long-term solution. But yeah, it's just that we've done, because we've had no one looking over camp, we really haven't done any ongoing engagement and communications, which is really sad. So we did have like some summer students that did a few weeks of just like some stuff we uploaded to YouTube, and we might just reintroduce the links for those. Like we've kept them live to say, if you didn't join us in July and check out these activities, then while you have a bit of school break right now, why don't you check out some of these activities, and maybe if we're smart, we'll try and get a few people to like do some holiday theme crafts or something like that, just to have something that's available. So those are the things we're thinking about, but it's hard when we don't have like anyone at 100% capacity, and anyone looking at this portfolio either. So yeah.
It's funny because we're all, even us at the University of Guelph, are very much wanting to stay engaged. But as a parent of camp kids, I could care less what they're doing. I'm not paying attention. I don't know if any other parents want to speak up and have honest, do you care as parents? I don't know, but we're all trying to do it.
I'm a parent of camp age kids as well, and our boy would never ever be interested in go to camp. Like we never know what we're going to do with him just because of the way he is. Our daughter would love to, since she's going to finally be of the age where she could probably go. So we're a little bit interested to see what might be on offer or what people are thinking. But I'm mainly thinking from my employment perspective, not my parent perspective on this stuff. So I can't really separate it, to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah, I had not thought of that actually, but I don't care either. Really. I think my 10-year-old daughter loves when there is content from the like instructors. So like when I make a video, she's like, that's lame. But Kevin's probably more fun. So Kevin probably has an audience, he's like a pop star with the Guelph kids. So, but they love it when it's instructors, when it's the students, because they're just so fun. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I know, it's right. Who's actually asked their parents what they want? Has anybody done a survey?
No.
We did a survey at the start of the spring, because we announced our closure, and then it was like around May. We were toying with what we wanted to do. We ended up doing like a small semblance of virtual programming, built out a website, done some videos and some resources for activities. But yeah, at the time when we were gauging kind of what parents were looking for, that was in May, and lots of them just said that they were pretty worn out with, standing over their kid's shoulder and trying to help facilitate the online piece, and they were not particularly interested in doing any virtual type of programming, and understandably so. I can only imagine that that's been amplified since May. I think that caregivers are probably quite tired. So it's just a different type of experience and engagement when you can bring your kids to a place and then leave and let somebody else take over the programming, right? So yeah, that's what we gathered, at least back in May when we did a survey.
Yeah, if your kids are in kind of programming, like Sarah can probably speak to this, but hockey's full on, a lot of sports are full on. So I think parents would want in person, and anybody who's got kids that are in sport, their kids are like, Owen's on the rink 7 days a week. Avery's in a cheerleading studio 3 days a week. Like it feels pretty normal. I don't know, Sarah. Think?
It's certainly not the same, but yeah, they're there a few times a week. Ryan has a broken arm, so he's not there at all right now. But he was. Unfortunately, Mike's the coach, so he still has to go, which is never fun. But they're 4 or 5 times a week. Yeah, so I mean they're trying, and in person is a big difference. My kids are, a little bit older, a couple teenagers and a 12-year-old, but yeah, they wouldn't be interested in any more online stuff. They're done with that, and they find their own fun virtually by that age on online. So when my oldest was 12, maybe less so, but now that my youngest is 12, he's whatever. So I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to know, but a lot of parents I know, it's a real mix, right? And I mean, my husband's a teacher, so I get a lot of feedback from parents, and there are some that are just happy to have them out of the house and are less concerned about what's happening every day. And there's those ones that are every day on you. What happened? How close were they to people? What was going on? Is there someone in your class that is sick? And, asking a lot of questions. So it's a real divide, and I guess in everyone as a parent and anyone in out in the community these days. So it's hard to know, but I think there will be a large percentage who are just like, I trust you're going to be safe. There's a lot of protocols out there right now. I trust you're going to do the best you can, and they need to be out there doing something. I mean, that's my gut. It could be wrong, but I think it'll be less, but I think there will be a lot of people ready to send their kids to something.
Yeah, my sense is the same, that the appetite for in-person something will be, it is and will be even more so come July and August, when this past summer employers were much more open to the fact that we were all stuck at home with our kids, and in the next summer most people have gone back to work and they will need the care for sure, and so whatever capacity, I know that whatever capacity we can offer, we will fill it, because it will just be so small. I do think our price will mean that we are not serving everyone, that we are serving only those who can afford it. Unfortunately, we do have a partnership with our municipality. We host campers who have childcare subsidy. And so that is another conversation. That will be another hurdle to cross, whether we can continue to have that approval, and whether they will pay whatever our new rate is. So they pay a per diem. They pay a set price per day per kid who attends, and whether they will be able to raise it enough that we feel comfortable that is matching what we are going to have to charge our parents who can pay. So that is another sort of challenge. Has anyone worked out pricing yet? I have just started. The university has our budgets are due in the next couple of weeks. It doesn't look good.
I tried to do it for this summer to just play the game. No, it was like, it was $270 was break even dollars per kid. Yeah,
that's about where I'm sitting now, is in order
to $270 for don't touch anything, don't play anything,
and no extended care. That's like that will be, because I have to have a cohort of your staff has to be there, and they can't work more than 40 hours. So your kid can only come for that amount of time. And so that's a problem, I think, for sure. Well,
and I think the other problem is, I don't know, if everybody's in red, you're out.
you're out. You're not.
You're out. If you're in the red zone, you're out.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. You have to be in yellow or green to be able to effectively run the camp, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe orange, but it's dicey.
So all good things, things are fine.
Lots of unknowns. Yay.
Yeah, lots of unknowns. But you know what? There is like comfort in the togetherness of the unknown, and so that's fine. Is there any sort of unanswered questions we do have 11 minutes, but I don't need to keep you if we're done.
The one thing you had asked Michelle at the offset that I don't know that anyone spoke to was if people have like swag that they're selling off, like any camp store kind of stuff. We were going to tackle that last year, didn't bother, and then this time around I'm thinking, at least if it's an outward facing kind of engagement piece or however you want to spin it, but something I'm considering more seriously. So I was just wondering if anyone has something going on like that. No swag.
Yeah, I have a huge stock of shirts. Yeah. That even if I run at my very low capacity, I won't even use them up because we're not running school trips, and every student in school trips gets a shirt. So I have oodles of random colors and random sizes. Like, I don't know, do I sell them $1 a piece? Like maybe the campus store can maybe if I just say, hey, campus store, here's some inventory. Would you like to sell it for me? I don't know what that would look like, but it is an idea for sure. I also have kids. I have a daughter who is still very happily doing music virtually. So I think for some kids, the virtual works and is okay. And it might be that 10-year-old girl where it's very social and they're savvy enough to operate it on their own because parents do not want to be involved and don't have time to help. So they need to be able, it's the age of which they can open Zoom, do the meeting, they can do it all themselves, and then it is a very social, so it almost makes me think that it's the arts and the music that fit well virtually. I keep getting pushed that it should be my technology, and I'm like, any of the kids who will join virtually to do technology will do it alone. They don't need an instructor. So yeah, I think maybe there is something there that to explore, and like you said, Jen, maybe it doesn't make money, but it is an engagement piece that can break even.
Yeah, I think, Michelle, when we do our programming, we've done lots of different types of programming to very small groups, mostly break even. You're right. It's the females that do the best, or the girls that identify as female, yes. Who are between 9 and 14. And then the second best engagement piece is the males, who are, again, 11 to 14, that are doing technology on their own, that can socialize over technology, that, speak up, that know screen etiquette, right? They know I can see my face, therefore you can see me. I know how to unmute, right? All that kind of stuff. So, who don't get Zoom fatigue. So that's the sweet spot. And I think that's why no matter what we do, we're planning to go virtual, and then hopefully it's in person alongside virtual, but I'm not getting rid of virtual because there are students that I think do like virtual more, and I think that we could engage quite well virtually.
Yeah, great. Is anyone else other than Guelph doing half days or part days? I have one coach who always does a half day, just fencing. Everybody else is full days.
I was at Western for 11 years before coming to Queens, and it was actually the coaches in the sport days that were more resistant to going half days, but the rest of the camp model was thriving on half days, and they swear by it. And I really liked it, to be honest. I thought it worked really well for parents to have more options and flexibility, and you can do the pricing so that it, like, you know, doing a full week of camp of half days in the morning and the afternoon worked out a little bit better than just what you could price a full day, full week camp. So I really like it. I mean, we're in no position right now to kind of transition to a different model at Queens, but I mean, I think it's a really cool model to think about. The virtual stuff, like, I'm surprised to hear, Jen, that you guys even had 2.5 hours worth of birthday party blocks or whatever. That's a pretty long time to, like, keep a captive audience.
10-year-old girls.
Yeah, I guess that's the key. So yeah,
Just put
but
on
anyway,
a little Taylor Swift, you're set.
yeah, got to find the right audience and the right content, I guess, and then the right people to lead it. But yeah,
the right person to lead it, for sure. You can't.
Key.
That's huge.
Yeah. Anyway, all that to say, like, I like the half-day model for sure for in-person stuff. I have no idea what that looks like in a virtual or whatever, but I think where we're talking about going at Queens for some summer, if we can get some in-person stuff, we might actually lead more on our, like, varsity and sport day, like true sport, high performance camp, because I think we can get to that higher price point with a little more ease than just the day camp piece. So I think we might actually start there, working with our existing full-time complement of coaches and people and some student athletes that might more regularly stay around and hope that there's a fall 2021 anyway. And then maybe put the brakes on some of our more traditional, more active day camp kind of stuff. But we haven't scratched the surface of it yet, but that's where my head starts to immediately go for when you talk about the models and the price points. And
I actually, it makes me think of, like, proposing to those coaches, they do half days, because then they don't have to deal with any rec time. Then the pool is going to be complicated this year. Playing outside is complicated. Free time in the gym is complicated, like any of that stuff. But if the coach can just do a morning, they don't have to deal with lunch or, like, getting kids to a spot where they have to wash hands, wash tables, sit, eat, any of that. Like, none of that is on the table. They just, 5 days of mornings of basketball or 5 days of mornings of tennis might be a good model for them.
And then when you look at the sport and rec province and the colors, the teams are always exempt. High performance is always exempt. So
yeah,
it's a good way to get around some of that too.
I was going to say the same thing. If you can categorize it as sport instruction, more and less day camp, then you can kind of align with a different set of policies or guidelines, which would be nice.
Yeah, and I'd say that lots of them are already, like, for us, teams are already returning to train, right? Like, they're already doing the thing. So how easy of a transition is that?
Yeah.
It's a bit more intuitive, I think.
And they're the crazy parents like Jen O'Neill, whose kid is on the ice 7 days a week.
Kitchener minor hockey is crazy.
No, they're all crazy. It's okay.
It's true, though.
Okay. Well, we have 2 minutes. I will say this. I have Camp Brain. I have had Camp Brain for 11 years. It is the best, and I'm pretty sure Brock's going to make me get rid of it. So hang on tight. Every year at this time, I get emails from ITS, and they say, we need to talk about Camp Brain again. And I'm pretty sure this is the year they're going to say, you're moving to ActiveNet, Michelle. And yeah. And then I'm going to say, great, hire a person to do that, because that's a full-time job. So that, if you can get Camp Brain and keep it, just keep it. Just don't tell anyone. I don't know.
Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah. Okay. This has been great. It is lovely to meet all of you and see smiling faces.
Yeah.
And sort of commiserate over the fun time we will have. And I'm sure that NIRSA Canada will have us get together again in the new year once the task force from OCA has put together some guidelines, which, for me, I'm hoping that the ratio goes up just a touch, because that will help budget-wise make sense. So, but keep everyone safe. Otherwise, stay in touch. In the chat is all our emails. So if a question sparked or someone's idea, we are all here to share, and I'm happy to share, and I'm sure everyone is. So feel free to reach out to each other. It's going to be a great year no matter what. It's fine. I am wearing a camp shirt today, even because I got to hang out with all of you. So it's lovely to see you. I hope you all have a fabulous night, evening, afternoon, wherever you are.
I just wanted to say really quickly, I know I said we have a vacancy and we're not in a position to post anything, but if anyone knows one of those like up and coming rock stars that is like, they could make a career in camps or get started in a career in this field in camps, I'm still open to having like some conversations with awesome people and plant some seeds. And
All right. Well, it's good to see everyone. Thanks for hosting.
So good to see you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye.